Welcome back to the Weekend Express. Let's speak now about road carnage. And in studio with us for this conversation is the National Chair of the Road Safety Association of Kenya, Mr. David Kiarie. He is joining us to speak about what the association is doing to improve road travel within the country's borders, especially in the wake of a report that was released by the National Transport and Safety Authority that road accidents in the first half of 2016 have increased as compared to the year 2015. Mr. Kiarie, good morning.
Morning.
Thank you very much for making time for us.
Thank you.
So tell us more about what the Road Safety Association of Kenya does, and how is it different from NTSA?
Now, let me say NTSA is government mandated, and I think after we had so many carnage in this country, government through parliament formed NTSA to make sure that it gets all the bodies together and work together towards saving our people on our roads. So our association is working hand in hand with NTSA to make sure that we get good results on our roads. Yeah.
All right. And so, of course, you've been doing a lot on the roads, and just when we started speaking, you're mentioning that your officials will now be taking to the roads.
Already they are on road from last week, and this time we are trying to look on the side of the speed governors, right, because most of our accidents in this country are contributed by speed and drivers, careless of drivers. Because if we take care of that, then we are good to go.
Really?
Yeah.
All right. So let's speak about this more. Having your officers on the road alongside NTSA officials, I believe.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of controversy surrounding that itself. Many saying that NTSA, now you, the Road Safety Association, is taking over the mandate of the traffic police.
No, we are not taking the mandate of traffic police because, traffic police have their work.
Right.
That is to make sure that roads are also they are part of us, and we are working with them because they are the people who are mandated to stop vehicles.
Right.
We can't go on our own, and even NTSA work with the same traffic police. But when we come to road safety, we are talking particularly about our safety on our roads. Because years and the other years, you realize that there was that problem. Traffic police cannot be able to follow up about safety, knowing how vehicles are done, how drivers are done. They are there just to stop on the road because they are police just to stop and know what is happening. And that is why we had so many accidents. And even if you go in all countries, like even in Nigeria, we have such bodies who are particularly mandated to make sure that roads are safe.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. And let's just bring you up to date with more on that report that was given by the National Transport and Safety Authority. Over 1,500 people had been deemed, had perished due to road accidents in the country by June this year. That's between January and June this year. But also among the major causes of accidents was the increase of motorcycles in the country. And that is an industry that still needs a lot more regulation. So let's speak about that, Mr. Kiarie, the increase of motorcycles in the country. Just very recently, you were quoted as saying that you want all public and private drivers to be vetted, and those are drivers on the roads. We'll be speaking about that. But what about motorbike drivers, the border drivers themselves?
Let me say all of them, not only the drivers, but even the border operators, right, the drivers must be vetted because, in years before, driving schools were doing business. You just get there, no proper training.
Right.
And we have realized that unless we have proper drivers on our roads, we'll have this problem continuing. So for us to have proper roads is to make sure that we have proper trained drivers on our roads. And that is why we are saying even those people who are driving personal vehicles must go back to school so that they are properly trained. We make sure that that person who is holding that vehicle on the road, he is well trained to maintain, to handle that motor vehicle or that border. In case of a problem, he knows how to solve that problem.
Right.
But you have realized so many accidents in this country has happened just because of a tire burst. And the driver panics when people are panicking, and that causes the whole carnage in that vehicle or the motorbike.
Right.
But if they are properly trained even how to manage, if such a thing happens, what are you supposed to do? You realize an accident happened on the one on, it was on this bypass, whereby just a big truck just lost the brakes, lost brakes. But because it has lost the brakes, he directed that lorry to motor vehicles on the road, and he killed so many people. And there was a ditch there. He could have just put his truck there, and maybe even he would not have died. But now he killed so many people just because he has panicked. So these are some of the things whereby we want our drivers trained. And the driving schools we have in this country really do very bad job.
Right, so have them reformed.
Theirs is just to have money and just give you a driving license, while you have not attained the real knowledge of you being on the road.
So then who's going to train these drivers afresh?
What we are saying, the NTSA has come with these driving schools now are going to have intensive driving courses, whereby before they are authorized to train, they must be now authorized by NTSA. And that, with that, I think we'll be good to go.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Now, I understand other than that training, we have motorists on our roads that are not licensed.
Yeah.
Now, speaking of that, who is failing in their mandate when we have unlicensed motorists?
Let me say, not even unlicensed. We have even vehicles on our roads which are not licensed to be on the road.
Right, and we have bodies that should be taking care of that.
And this is why you see now, we are saying NTSA should be on the road, traffic police should be on the road to make sure that they curb that.
And now your officials are on the road as well. Actually, what exactly will your officials be in charge of on the roads?
Like now, what we are particularly looking is the speed governors.
Which NTSA is also doing.
Yeah, that is what NTSA is doing, to make sure that all commercial vehicles and PSV vehicles have proper gadgets. Because you see, with business in our country, whereby people think of money, not about life. Because you see, somebody has fitted a speed governor. That is something we have discovered just that 1 week on the road, that a vehicle is fitted with a genuine speed governor, but it has been removed. It is not working. So that particular person who has removed that speed governor is not caring about lives he's carrying. He's just thinking of how he'll do a lot of trips and make a lot of money.
In fact, it's an interesting, I took a cab just earlier this week, and the driver was moving so fast, probably at 120, but the speed meter still read 0. You know, so it was very questionable as to how that was possible.
Let me tell you, if you remember, if you recall, when Michoki came, speed governors were introduced, and they worked very well, and they did excellent job. But within a very short time, switches were introduced in these speed governors. Now, we came again now with new speed governors, which could give proper record of 1 week of how the driver has been driving. Now, if you go, you realize that they have removed the speed governors. So what is there is that, like now the cab you're talking about, that person does not think of your life. Is thinking of what he's going to get, and he go back to get more money. Now, Kenyans are very, in fact, in Africa, Kenyans are not a joke. Because we have tried, and they are very sly. And you realize that they make sure that they know exactly what is happening. Now, with this, even the speed governor, even the vehicles, there are mechanisms they use that even the police, when he's driving the vehicle, will not notice that the vehicle is above 80. And even they have anti-detectors they put in front of the vehicles. So if police officers are trying to use their gadget to see the speed is doing, these things alert them. So they'll only do the overspeed when they know that it is free.
Right.
And you know, obvious, any accident happening in this country, like recently, everybody was complaining NTSA is not working, these people are not working. But you can imagine when you're dealing with such people.
Right. I would ask, how do these gadgets get in the market? Because I know for sure that there is a gadget that is sold very freely in the market that helps motorists detect where speed monitors are on the road. So
Yeah,
why do we have these the gadgets in the Kenyan market if we don't want them in the Kenyan market?
You know, in Kenya you are free to bring whatever you want to bring. Right. And when they are bringing such gadgets, they don't really say the purpose of the gadget, because the gadget just look like a mobile phone.
Right.
And you may think they are new mobile phones which have been brought in this country.
Right.
So, and then they are sold to motorists, because there are people outside there who don't think of lives of people. Because such a business person who is bringing such gadgets, his intention is to make sure that these vehicles are doing overspeed. And there are also people who benefit on these accidents, don't forget. So they would like these accidents to continue, because without a reason I can give proper, you don't know what the benefit on the accident. So, and this is why we are saying, if you know you are going to drive a vehicle on a Kenyan road, you must make sure that you follow the law. Right. You must make sure that the vehicle is going at the speed which is recommended. If it is a PSV, should not be over 80. If it is a commercial vehicle, should not be over 80. And now we are telling drivers, it will not be easy as usual. As you drive, and then you do an overspeed, you will not do that business, because we are on the road.
All right.
And we are really helping NTSA.
Yeah. We're speaking about private and public drivers being vetted afresh, going back to driving school. So how are these stakeholders, concerned stakeholders, you included, going to ensure that all these drivers have gone through that process? Because
we have to support NTSA, that is one thing. And also there will be a time duration, because you cannot be told from tomorrow we want this. No,
right.
there
So
will be
that.
That is now with NTSA, they are working on that. And then after the duration time, which will be given, now the license maybe will change. In fact, let me say, it is the only problem we have also is our constitution. We have a big problem with this constitution, because you see, anything which is done, people run to court, because as we are talking, electronic driving license were introduced in this country, and NTSA had started pushing on it, but some people went to court and stopped the process. So, and because of the constitution, we have to wait.
Right. Just tell us a bit more about this, actually, those electronic driving licenses, and is it smart number plates?
Yeah, and even the smart number plate.
Yeah, tell us about how these would help in curbing road carnage.
It will really help, because not even one driver who would like to do mistakes, knowing that his license, you know, it can be recorded. After you do anything, then it can record. Any other police officer striking that driving license, it will always go to the record, show how you've been doing. Not a driver, every driver. That happens even in London.
So if you commit an offense in Nairobi and you go commit another offense in Narok, the police there can see
the police in Narok will know that this driver had committed an offense in Nairobi.
Okay.
And you see now, drivers will be careful, because even when we say of the developed countries and why they are able to curb the carnage on their country, is just because of the technology. Is because, you know, when you're on the road, the camera will take your picture, it will record that, it will take to the nearest police station, and then you'll be arrested, and then you'll be charged. So you automatically, you don't want that.
You can't run away.
You can't run away. You can't run away.
That's right. That's definitely a very good initiative. So is it still going ahead, or is there a petition?
Let me say, given time, NTSA, given time, what we are saying is that, can people give NTSA time? You know, NTSA is a body which, let me say, is about 2 years old. Right. And this is the time they are trying to put their house in order. So if they can be given the right time and given time to do what they are doing, I think there will be a great change in this country.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Now, not very long ago, again, you also suggested that alcohol should not just be done at night. It should also be done during the day.
Yeah, because we discovered that most of the accidents which are happening, mostly drivers are drunk during the day. And this we discovered particularly on Thika Road, whereby we went when we were doing some surveys and some vehicles were stopped, and we realized that these drivers, PSV drivers, were arrested drunk. And I remember one time we went to Muranga Stage, and when we were doing our survey there, like every driver, let me say 80% of the drivers on that stage were drunk. And what they drink, funny alcohol sold in paper, something. And let me tell you, you can imagine when you are driven by a drunkard driver and he's carrying a life.
Yeah, definitely. All right, so let's talk about, you also said that there needs to be a review of the traffic laws and regulations. So what sections exactly are we speaking that need to be regulated, reviewed rather?
Let me say many, and not one section, many sections, because in our country we have so many laws about road, about regulations, but most of them don't work. We have the best, in fact, in Africa, but you realize they are not properly followed. So now what I will say is that the ones we have, can we first of all implement on them? And not only implementation, but enforcement, because what we lack in this country is enforcement. Because like now there's a regulation that the speed governor should be fitted on the vehicles. A speed governor must give a record of how the driver has been doing. So if they are followed, then these vehicles, it is easy to detect that this driver has been doing overspeeds. Yeah.
All right. Now, you know, the causes of accidents that we have, human error, faulty vehicles, drunken driving, these are things that have been causes of accidents since the advent of traffic laws. It's been a long time coming. So why is it that accidents continue to be on the rise, year in, year out?
Yeah, let me tell you one thing. It's because enforcement has not been there. We know what are the causes of accident in this country. And I always say we don't have any accident in this country. Let me say 20% of the accident which happen in this country, 80% are not accident. We should call them crashes, because it's somebody crashing this vehicle. It's not an accident. A vehicle is just like a robot. It is controlled. It will go where you want it to go. But an accident is something which you cannot avoid. But the accident which occur in this country, we know very well that they are caused by our drivers. Because you are told, don't do an overspeed, and you see the driver is doing an overspeed. Now, right away, let's go to Thika Road to see what is happening right away. That this is a PSV vehicle, but they are doing overspeeds. And they are told very well, this vehicle should go at 80. So if we can follow the law and agree, and even if they can just follow that law and go at that 80, why do we have to introduce the speed governor in the first place? It is because they don't want to follow the law. So what is there, and what we are saying is that in Kenya we don't have accidents. It is caused human error, and even I don't call it human error. It is somebody is drunk. You drive a vehicle knowing clearly that when you are drunk, something happens. You cannot control this vehicle because you are not yourself. Anything can happen. If a drunkard cannot walk properly, is it driving a vehicle that you see a drunkard is going staggering? That vehicle must stagger the way the drunkard is struggling. So the same, and that is why we say drinking and driving is extremely dangerous. Speaking with a phone when you're driving is very dangerous. We only talk of speaking with a phone. There are other many things, like eating when you're driving. You should concentrate. You see, there was an accident which happened on Thika Road, and after going there, you realize the ladies who are driving that vehicle were drinking, and they are ladies while driving. And there are so many things happening, and a driver should concentrate. And this is why I'm saying when you want to train somebody from the beginning. This should come from the school, driving school, first before you are taken to the road. Discipline, how you're supposed to behave. You just imagine, you realize on our roads, somebody will not give you road way to go because the discipline is like that. And they will come and nobody is taking care. But if they are properly trained from the start that you should behave on the road, this is the way to do. Make sure you give somebody way, and when you're driving, make sure you concentrate on the road. Anything can happen. Somebody just, and then let us not think about money, because that is something which is killing our people. Because we realize, like the other day, NTSA came with laws that any build up place, please drive at 50. And that thing, people are even challenging it in court. And it is common sense. Common sense. When you are at 80 or 100, a build up place, and somebody just closes the road, there's no way you can save that life. And we need to save. Every life is very important. It is difficult to have. If you destroy that life, you cannot get it any other. You cannot get it. So at least when you are driving a vehicle, that is a build-up place, drive at 50, because if anything happens, you'll be able to control your vehicle. And let me say, if Kenyans can agree and we follow the law, then surely we can be somewhere. But what I believe is that even in Europe, even in London, these people, if they are left just like that, they will behave the same as Kenyans are behaving on our roads.
I beg to differ, because you find in Kenya, with the traffic lights alone, without the traffic police, nobody pays attention to the traffic lights.
But why?
It's chaos.
Why? Because of enforcement.
Right.
Try and pass the traffic light. Already the camera has taken you, and you will not go anywhere. But here, you will go scot-free.
All right.
Yeah.
So what those CCTV cameras?
So what I'm trying to say is this: the enforcement is so important that you do a slight mistake on the road, then you are arrested.
Right.
And for us to achieve to that, we have to assist each other. And this is where I always say, road safety is not NTSA. It's not the traffic policeman. It is you yourself. You are in a matatu whereby the driver is going at a very high speed, and you are the one who is telling the driver, quick. And after the accident, unasikia saying, huyu driver alikuwa anaendesha hii gari mbio sana, when already people have lost life.
Right.
So, but if we agree as Kenyans, you remember when Michuki came, people were disturbed by the deaths which were there. So everybody supported Michuki. So if we can now support NTSA, that was an individual. Why can't we support NTSA?
And that being said,
this is a body.
Right.
Yeah.
That being said, like you mentioned, Kenyans are very sly.
Yeah.
You bring alcohol, and we have Facebook and Twitter pages to tell us how to avoid alcohol.
Exactly.
Or we have all these scientific formulas that if you take a certain amount of then alcohol won't detect the amount of alcohol in your system. So other than the stakeholders, NTSA, the Road Safety Association of Kenya, on the grassroots level, away from the laws, what do Kenyans need to do? What do they need to keep in mind to ensure that, to help you, of course, achieve your mandate of reducing road carnage?
One, and I always say, the person who feels the pain is a person who has a victim. Right. If you have your sister, your brother killed on the road, you know what you are talking about. But if you don't have, you think we just talk, we are just there to show ourselves. No. But we tell Kenyans that life is very important. And we just talk of death here. I tell Kenyans, try and visit spinal injury in Nairobi. See those people who are really, their life is properly destroyed, that they cannot do anything. They cannot develop this country. They cannot even help their own children. And they were fathers or mothers. What I tell people is this: if you want us to save our nation, to save life, please follow the law. Make sure that you assist the authority. Don't try to kill the authority. As you had mentioned, I remember one time there was a drunkard who hired hired a driver after realizing that Akobro is on the other side.
Right.
He hired a driver who just passed him the Akobro. But after the Akobro, he was given his vehicle. But 50 meters, the accident occurred and the guy died.
So
now everybody was asking, the Akobro was here, what did they do?
Right.
How could they know what is going on? And the only person who is supposed not to drink is the driver. But the passenger, even if he's drunk
There's no
death,
problem.
no problem.
All right. So, thank you very much, Mr. David Kiaria. Unfortunately, we're out of time. David Kiaria, there, the national chairman of the Road Safety Association of Kenya, in studio, just to bring us up to speed with what the association has been up to. He informs us that the association will now have its own officials on the roads to ensure road safety, and that all drivers will now be expected to be vetted afresh to ensure that they are compliant with the traffic laws. You're watching the Weekend Express. That brings us to the end of the show. My name is Michelle Ngele. Have yourself a good morning.